Welcome to the Saynetwork podcast. I am Jim Sparks. I'm here with Jordan Nix, as always.
Hello.
Captain Joy Groenleer.
Hi.
And Danielle Handle.
Hello.
New guests. We have new guests.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. Captain Joy and Danielle are joining us for the first time on the Saynetwork podcast. It seems like everyone this season is for the first time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, that's because it is. Danielle is serving as the Territorial Pathway of Hope project manager. Is that right?
That's right.
I nailed it.
You did.
What is that?
Good question. That is, so I work to support the divisions in their implementation of Pathway of Hope. And Pathway of Hope is a intensive case management approach that works with families to move them from crisis to self-sufficiency in the goal of breaking the cycle of intergenerational poverty.
Wow, it's like you memorized it.
It's a little pitch.
That was really good. So quick funny story is dad on the Little League team that I was coaching on allegedly was wearing a Salvation Army t-shirt at some point during the season. And so my mother-in-law was like, that guy's wearing a Salvation Army shirt. I saw him wearing I was like, no, he doesn't. He was wearing a Salvation Army shirt. So I'm like, hey, do you, by any chance, were you wearing a Salvation Army shirt? And he goes, oh, yeah, I work for the Salvation Army. I was like, what, you do? And I go, where at? And he goes, well, I work in Pasadena. I'm like, you do? And I was like, are you in social services? And he goes, I am. I do Pathway of Hope case management. I was like, that's pretty awesome.
That's
I had no idea.
Wow.
I had no idea. So he's a good guy. So
That's awesome.
that was a win. We also have Captain Joy Groenleer.
Yes. Hi.
One of my favorite youth workers. And I wasn't even in like part of her youth programs. But I got to see Joy early on in my career.
Yeah, that was a pretty long time ago.
And we got
then.
partnered up to do something in Hawaii, and she was electric. And I was like, "Holy smokes, she's amazing!" We were at a skate park, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah. I think you were doing some skating tricks or something.
No, I was.
Or you were the one that was on the ground.
I think they call it poser. I think that's what it was. But
I think we were probably laughing at some of the people that fell or something like that.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Joy is the Crestmont Education Officer.
Yes.
And what does that mean?
That means over at the College for Officer Training, there are some students that just need some academic support. So I'm there to help tutor them, but I also teach classes, which is one of the fun parts of the job, being able to teach cadets about preaching, public ministries, Bible knowledge, different things. It's exciting.
What is your favorite class to teach?
My favorite class to teach is homiletics. Just being able to teach cadets how to develop sermons, how to deliver sermons, how to just think about their audience, and just helping cadets to really preach God's word.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you tell them to go online and go to sermoncentral.com and download that?
No, definitely not. We
What?
make sure that they do their own exegeting of Scripture, being able to see what the Scripture is really saying according to God's word, and that's what they preach, not according to what Captain Joy says, but according to what God says.
So I've been doing it wrong for a long years.
Yeah, not what you say.
What's like the number one rule you teach? Like the most important rule?
Probably the most important rule is we should be preaching "Thus saith the Lord," and not "Thus what I think."
Yeah.
What I think the Scripture is saying.
So preach the gospel?
Preaching God's truth,
Truth.
basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. This
Amen.
is like our own little Crestmont.
Yeah,
Class.
definitely.
Let's stop because she's going to make us write an essay.
I'm going to start.
I'm not writing
preaching
nothing.
and teaching.
I will not write an essay. All right. So that's what you do. Let's get to know you a little bit more, and we'll throw Jordan in there. Are you a runner, a walker, or a nah? I'm not.
I'm a runner. I love running. If there are any runners out there, Honolulu Marathon, at the end, you go to the finish line, you get malasadas. So that's a good perk.
Motivation.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm a bit of all three, to be honest.
Okay.
It depends what season I'm in. So I've done a bit of running. I do like to walk. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to go on walks after work and
Nice.
such. Yeah.
Jordan?
I've tried running. I don't enjoy it. So I'll stick with walking.
Walking?
I like walking. Yeah. I can like, especially like during the workday, I need to get up and like do a lap around, and it like helps like clear my head and everything.
Does.
Get up and move.
Yeah, Crestmont is a great place to walk around.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I'm a walker now. I should be a runner because I did it for a lot of my life, but I enjoy walking, and I used to hate walking. I was like, why are we walking when you could just run? But now I'm like, why are you running when you could just walk? It makes sense. Country you would like to live in other than the United States?
I would love to live in, I don't know, Australia. You know,
Wow.
just the beauty of that country, and they speak English. But you know, I've just heard stories of people who live there and love it. So I would love to live there.
Nice. Danielle?
Honestly, I'd love to live in any other country. Like, I love to travel. Probably would say maybe Ecuador, because I've gone there quite a few times, and
It's hot.
I love the country. Yeah, I'd love to also like immerse myself and learn the language.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've been to Ecuador. It was quite an experience.
Yeah.
We were there for 2 hours, and they got us off the airplane, and we're in the middle of the tarmac, and then they put us in this smoke-filled room and said we weren't allowed to leave, and it was hot, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then all of a sudden, like, all right, get back on the airplane and left. It was weird.
What?
What?
It was on our way down to Chile. Jordan?
I think Italy.
Mm.
I don't know. I love everything about Italy. I love Italian food. I love Sicily. Sicily's cool. There's not a lot of like
Tyson?
American.
Cicely Tyson?
No.
Oh.
What? I don't even know who that is. But Sicily's cool because there's like not a lot of Americans like visiting there. I think it's just, I don't know.
All right.
That's
Enough with your anti-American rhetoric. Favorite part of youth group, Joy?
My favorite part would probably be the unplanned time where we can just hang out with people and talk.
Yeah.
Talk story.
Talk story.
Yeah.
Danielle?
Probably the fellowship.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
I'd say fellowship. Getting to know everyone.
No, you spend so much time working on program stuff as youth workers, and everyone is like, I just want to hang out and talk.
I know. Yeah. Right. Now we know how to not plan.
I know. Well, and that's the problem, right? You not plan, and then you get in trouble. You're like, you're not planning nothing. I'm like, all they want to do is just talk. But plan. What's just as off the cuff question? Craziest youth group game that you saw?
Oh, some of the craziest youth group games were pre what do you call it?
PTM.
Pre PTM. Yeah. So I remember. Well, maybe we just played a lot of really fun. You know, running around Waikiki, doing a lot of finding different things. Yeah, so those were always fun. Just letting the teens run wild and scavenger hunt around Waikiki.
Any of you guys? Fun.
Favorite youth group game?
Yeah, they're just random game or experience. I've got one.
I don't have
So it was a challenge night, and I was pretty young, but we had tubes, like a clear tube, and so you put it in your mouth, and the other person puts it in their mouth, and then they had to blow objects to the other side.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so it's cool, like particularly thinking about it through a pandemic lens. It's like we are direct firing our
COVID shots.
Yeah, stuff across. But we did put a spider in there and played with a spider inside, and that made it a little bit more entertaining than like a cotton ball. So that was just a freebie for people listening that you could do. Have you ever dumped a boyfriend?
No, I've never dumped one. It was always a mutual separation.
Yeah, that's what they all say. Danielle?
Yes.
Of course. Was it harsh? Were you harsh?
No, I'm kind.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind, but definitely time.
Jordan,
I
girlfriend?
Girlfriend, yes.
Wow, you guys are savages. I didn't get to date anyone. Just make it awkward. No, I did get dumped at camp once, and it was kind of funny. I knew it was coming, and she's like, I don't think we're going to work out. I'm like, all right, cool.
He just enjoys it.
She's like, all right.
Okay, bye.
I was like, yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was cool. And then we went off. I went and played ping pong and got over it and moved on. That's camp relationships, though. Camp relationships, you have just a couple options. You're going to get married. You're going to get dumped in August. There's no like in between. There's no like, oh, this is going to last till like January or like 2 years. No, it's either or. I don't know if I know of an instant where someone made it like a year and a half and then they didn't work out. So camp. Want to get dumped?
That would be a great, you find,
study?
Yeah, great study to do.
I might just do that.
Good
Favorite
way.
holiday?
Christmas, definitely.
Christmas?
All those gifts.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Christmas.
Christmas.
My goodness.
Maybe I'll throw in 4th of July.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your most overrated holiday?
Overrated.
What's yours, Danielle?
4th of July.
I see that. Yeah, it is.
Maybe, is Labor Day a holiday?
Yes.
I mean, I know it's
Maybe,
a holiday, like a work holiday.
But I don't feel like those are.
But it's not
I feel
like you
they're all
celebrate it,
underrated.
right?
Yeah, it's not a
It's just like a day
celebratory.
off.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
of those are pretty
Yeah.
underrated.
Mine is Thanksgiving. I know that sounds harsh, but like it's this weird thing. Like you have to kind of be with family, and not that I love my family, so that's not a problem. But it's like you're there to just eat food, and everybody sits there, and someone has cooked and worked tremendously hard on it for hours, and it's all gone in like 9 minutes, right? And then everyone complains for the next couple hours. Oh, I ate too much, and it's just weird experience, and like everyone's standing and waiting for food for like an hour. Like they get to the house earlier, like there's no like ritual games or anything like that. And I mean, you could watch the cowboy cheerleaders dancing on the shields and stuff like that. You got that, but I don't know. It's overrated for me. Anyways. Youth culture we're going to talk about today is teens and jobs. Joy, you have teens?
Yes, I do. I have 3 teenagers in my home, and it's always an interesting time with them.
And they work?
Yeah, actually, Kelsey's at USC. She works at work-study program. Somebody has to pay for her college. And yeah, they're great kids.
So a trend that has been booming is teens working, going to work. And it's really quite fascinating. For a period, it was don't work, your job is school, and everything's got covered. But what they found, particularly through the pandemic time, is teens working. And it's a different way of working. Some of this I've been trying to study and figure out because camps this summer actually had a hard time finding people to work. But what they found is people were working elsewhere. The teens are working. They're just working elsewhere. And so reading this blog written about teens working from the Growing Leaders pod and blog, not pod, and gave an example of this girl interviewed for Chick-fil-A, teen girl, and she was like an all-star, so they wanted to hire her on the spot. And she said, great, I'll get back to you. And then went to McDonald's and interviewed, and they wanted to hire her. And she knew what Chick-fil-A was offering and negotiated a higher salary to work at McDonald's, because negotiation of salaries is now very much part of the culture because work shortage, and teens have figured out that this is going to benefit them more. And so it changes things quite a bit. The power is still leaning in the hands of the person getting the job to negotiate and do that. But would you, as a teenager, ever think to negotiate a salary or negotiate benefits? Or what was your mindset as teenagers going? I had a job when I was a teenager. I had a couple jobs, not just camp, but other jobs. But I would never have thought of this. What about you guys?
I'm old school. So my first job was working at Camp Homolani with the Birchells. And so obviously when they offer you a job, you just pretty much accept whatever they say they're going to pay you. Because a lot of times, with that particular job, it wasn't for the money. It was for the experience. Right. It was being able to work at camp. But, there are people that need a paycheck. And so they will take that into consideration. But in my generation, it was this is what we're offering you. If you want the job, you can take it. If not, we never thought about asking for a higher pay.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, this would never have ever crossed my mind. I was just happy to be offered a job because I feel like it was kind of difficult to get a job at the time. Had to put in a lot of applications, and to be given a chance was like, yeah, I'll take that. Pay me whatever.
I think it's kind of cool. There's a kind of a get off my lawn gym that is like, just do it. I mean, grateful for what you give them, but I think it's cool that this generation is sophisticated enough to think through that a little bit, and maybe that helps change some of the pay scale difference that we see, because they know they're sophisticated enough to be able to go and ask those questions and think through that a little bit more. I mean, do you think maybe their parents are helping them along the way on that? But they still got to do it. It's not like the parents are going in, although some parents try to, and that's a problem. That's a whole separate issue. But to go in and to negotiate, it's pretty interesting. This article talks about how more savvy they are and understanding hours and flexible hours and saying, I won't do this. I was reading an article about 6 months ago, and that companies are like, for part-time workers, are just taking what they could get for what they can get. So like some people are like, I'd like to hire, but I'm only going to work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And they're like, okay. And then now we have to go and hire someone for Saturday and Sunday, those type of workers. So it's interesting how there's leverage in the particularly young people and applying for jobs that we didn't think were negotiable. I didn't think working for a fast food was negotiable. And we live in a period where it is now. And so I think that's kind of interesting. This article cites a lot of the idea that kids went and maybe got jobs during the pandemic. They're trying to figure that out, whether it was because they were bored, because they were at home, and then maybe I have time now to get more money, because a lot of our kids are overly scheduled on stuff, and that took away. But a lot of it is to financially support the home and do that. But if you were to give advice to a teenager on looking for a job, and they're 16, 17 years old, you probably share the advice you gave your daughters. What advice would you give them?
I would probably just tell them that they should probably find a job that they enjoy doing. Obviously, when you find a job that you enjoy doing, it's not work. It's just going somewhere where you enjoy doing what you do, and that'll help you to look forward to going to work. My youngest daughter wants to go and work at the movie theater because, that's a cool place where people come, although she's not old enough yet. But when she is old enough, I'll encourage her, to go and work somewhere where she would enjoy being at. So it's not like a job.
Yeah, I think that's important, particularly early on. I remember the advice given to me is find a job that gives you fun perks that you like. And that's what I did. I would be, all right, I'll work at this place. And I worked at a running store for a couple of years, and the amount of free shoes that I got, I was like, this place is amazing. Like, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. And it was a really neat experience. But yeah, that's good advice. What about you guys?
It's funny. I was just spending the weekend with my friend's 16-year-old daughter, and she's looking for work. Mm-hmm. She's on the verge of getting her license, so has some responsibility in paying for her car, and nothing seems to be falling through. So I'm just kind of exploring with her what are her passions and what does she want to do long term, so that maybe she can find something in that field that can help her to hone in on those skills. Also encouraging her to just continue to apply to places, and to also follow up with them, that she has to advocate for herself.
Yeah. I think there's so many jobs out there for everyone. I think a lot of the time teenagers think they have to, work at McDonald's or go into fast food or something like that. But there's something out there for everyone. You just got to look for it. I think just doing your due diligence and finding what fits for you.
Yeah.
I think from a core perspective, I think this is an area that maybe we don't tap into enough is being that guiding person for young people into jobs and allowing them to understand what is available to them, like Jordan mentioned. And there's so many different instances where I've been talking to a kid and they're like, well, I really want to be an accountant when I'm older. I'm like, oh man, that's great. And then I learned that they're like working, at a job that has nothing to do with accounting. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. They got a job. But I think we could start pairing some of that stuff together. And there's people in the congregation that might be able to give them summer jobs or different experiences so they could kind of get a peek into the window of what that future may look like that they're interested in. And so I think we could do that as a core, is play matchmaker quite a bit on some of those jobs, and even just trying to create a path. A friend of mine described career trajectory, and he used cycling as the metaphor, and that cyclists, they all take turns leading the pack, and they draft off each other. And he said that we have to get young people drafting off someone that's going to just carry them for a while. And then you're going to get to a point where you're like, I could do this on my own now. And then I'm going to drift off and I'm going to catch the next person and then the next person, and just kind of keep drifting behind these people, being mentored and really studying that path so they could kind of see themselves growing to one point that they're just going to go ahead and lead the race. And I think that's really important for us to kind of get in that market and our churches and our core and our programs.
Definitely. My daughter Kelsey is attending Pasadena TAB, and recently she was sharing with me about how she struck up a conversation with one of the members at the TAB, and how she was able to get some good advice as far as getting a job in the future in the field of law. Mm-hmm. And so just having that support from core members and encouragement and advice, that's always so helpful to our young people.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing. It's very rare to find someone that is not passionate about their job. There's certain population, obviously, but a lot of people, particularly if you think a younger person's interested in it, you're going to get excited about that because you saw yourself in that. And so I think as youth leaders and core officers, you want to be in tune with what your people are doing. And so you can make that matchmake, and you could be like, hey, this person wants to get into law, and I'll go talk to Sharon and make a connection. And I witnessed that connection that your daughter made. And the excitement was two ways. It wasn't just Kelsey getting excited. It was Sharon getting excited that someone is interested in the same thing that she is. And so that makes a connection. I do also think that just to attack on another level, that this helps transitioning teens to adulthood in the congregation, because they're making connections maybe with people that weren't involved in youth ministry. And once you make that connection, a lot of times those people are going to follow up and say, hey, what are you majoring in? And oh, I took that class, and oh, I know what you have to deal with on that, and how are you prepping for this exam? And you have that conversation, so it builds up the social capital for people, which I think helps make that transition into the adult part of the congregation and group. But interesting. Yep. Teen jobs on the rise. That's exciting. My son got a job for the first time, and it was kind of cool. Like that he was excited about his paycheck. It's a harsh reality seeing that first paycheck, because you have it in your brain what it is. And then when you see it on paper, it's not even close to what it is, because they don't understand taxes or anything like that. But he was excited, and it was fun to kind of watch that process of him getting excited about it. And then he comes home and he's like, all right, I want to get a job here. I was like, dude, you got no time to get a job. But yeah, every summer, fire up. Let's go. Let's get a job. So yeah, let's make that a thing. And so if you have young people, teenagers that are looking, let's make connections for them, and let's get them connected to their future occupations, and maybe get mentors in the congregation for that. Anything else to add on that youth culture talk?
I think it would be great if core officers could, even, you talking about this, have a day where the people of the core can share what they do
for the
kids, and share how they can get there as far as education or experience. But that would be a great youth activity,
Yeah.
getting the young people with the people in the Corps who have different careers.
I think that's a great idea because you don't know. Like all of a sudden you'll be like, that's an option. Like that's what you do for a living. That's an option. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of Kristen Davis, who works in caring. She wanted to be a teacher, wanted to be a teacher. Went on service corps, came back. I want to write, and changed everything about it and got connected with writers. And that's what she's doing now, and to our benefit.
Love that.
So I love that idea of having a career night at the Corps.
I think it's also important just for even the mentors, like to learn from the youth. There's so much that they have to offer to us too, and just this changing landscape of the field, you know. And in talking to some of the youth, they, what has really impacted them is when someone has taken that, seen something in them and really have poured into them and kind of saw that potential to talk with them instead of at them. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. Super cool. Now I'm going to go get a new job. Make it exciting. All right, let's go to the wheel, the super fun wheel that everyone's raving about.
All right.
It's not really true. No one has ever said anything about it.
No whammies.
We don't have a sponsor yet. All right, Danielle, how about we roll first? We haven't landed on the cat one yet. I'm really hoping we do land on the cat one. Embarrassing teenage story.
This should be fun.
Go for the winner.
Great.
Oh man. Oh, let me see. Well, I had a friend who had gotten a moped for her birthday once.
A moped?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wanted to ride it, so we all kind of took turns. And then as soon as, I think she had like a cousin there that was kind of good looking, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna ride this moped, whatever. And then I got onto this gravel and I went to make a turn and I sped up and I just fell flat on my face. I broke her moped. She was like so mad at me, and it was humiliating. It was just so humiliating. And we didn't talk. We were on like kind of like a vacation that was a few hours away from home. So on the whole ride home, like we didn't talk. It was
Oh
just
no,
like, man!
She was mad.
She was mad at me. Yeah.
Have you had redemption?
Oh yeah. I was her maid of honor at her wedding. So
God.
yeah, and I'm her daughter's godmother. So we've, it's good. I can't say that I've ever rode a moped since that day.
You should have rode one to the wedding.
You should have given her.
Yeah.
You should have given her a moped as a wedding gift.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the other thing that was coming to my mind was like I played basketball in high school. I was really pretty good in my day, but I remember like taking the ball and like going to shoot it in the wrong, you always have that moment. I have had it even when I was younger.
You shot in the wrong hoop.
one, and with the whole high school watching, and I'm like,
You did it?
I did.
Did you make it?
Yes.
And the other team won by 2 points. Is that
like, okay, this is why. And I don't even know how it was even possible because I'm the one who like did the jump ball.
Right.
I sometimes just,
Was any of your family there to witness that?
I don't, I mean, maybe. I don't know.
That's funny.
They came to my game, so probably.
I'm going to tell a story about my sister because she played basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad's like, hey, we're going to go watch your sister play in her game. I'm like, oh, great.
okay?
And so we're at the game and she steals the ball and she's going for a breakaway layup. And I'm like, she's going to nail this, like right in the beginning of the game. And at our high school, because I also played basketball, so you had to watch out for these brass covers for the volleyball posts. There were brass covers. If you hit it square, it would just kill the ball. Like the ball wouldn't bounce as high. And there was one in the lane, and she hit it. And the ball didn't bounce back up in her hand, but she did the full layup motion up to the basket. It was, graceful, glorious, shall I say. no basketball. It was rolling out of bounds while she did it. And I immediately was laughing my head off. And my dad is laughing too, which was uncharacteristic of him. And he's like, you cannot talk about this like to her. And we did. We did talk to her about it all the time. And it was pretty funny. She was pretty upset about it. But we gave her a hard time because we said that her basketball was like watching a dodgeball tournament. The ball was just getting thrown back and forth to each other the whole time. I was like, someone dribble. Pretty fun. All right. Jordan.
Oh,
spin it. And this one time on a mission trip, I
thought I was getting kidnapped.
Oh, here we go.
Ooh, let's hear that story.
Was Liam Neeson there?
No, he wasn't, sadly. I went to school in Senegal for a few years in high school, and it was a missionary school, or a school for missionary kids, and I was just pretty much studying abroad there. And we would often, I think 2 times a semester, we would go out to the bush, to a different village and do a bunch of mission work over the course of 3 or 4 days. And we went to, I can't remember what the village was, but no, yeah, I can't remember what it was. It was on the tip of my tongue for a second. But I remember I was doing all the video stuff. So I was the one person who I'd get to see what everyone was doing, because usually we'd have 5 or 6 different teams. There'd be a foundation team, and they'd be building the foundation for a church. There'd be a well digging team and a VBS team and stuff. So I would go around and film everyone. And I remember this guy came walking up to me, the Senegalese guy, and he was telling me that he needed me to come with him because he wanted to show me something. And so I was standing there by myself videoing, and I was on a 100mm lens. So I was kind of far from everyone, getting a wide shot. And so I don't know, I just followed him, and then he had a truck, and he was in the back of the truck. So I just sat in the back, because the Senegalese people are really I felt more safe there than I do in America at night. So I was it's probably nothing. So I thought he was trying to, he was saying someone needed help or something. So I went with him. I got in the back. He drove me down this dirt road, and we drove for a while. And then we got to this little hut, his little house. And I remember we went in, and his daughter was sitting there. And he told me he wanted me to marry his daughter and take her back to America.
No way.
And I was and I was I could kind of piece together what he was saying, because they spoke French and I didn't speak very good French, but I could I was kind of gathering what he was saying. And so I was trying to tell him no, I can't do that. I'm 15. And he was persistent. He was blocking the door and wouldn't let me leave.
Wow.
And then eventually he was just kind of getting frustrated. And eventually after persistently saying, no, I'm not taking your daughter. And she was only 12.
Was she there?
Wow.
Yeah.
In front of you?
Yeah, she was there. I was no, I can't take her. I can't take her back to America with me. And then he started naming, I don't know if he was trying to find something in common with me. He started saying, he was Eminem. He was Jay-Z. And he was just saying American rappers. And I was yeah, I live next door to him. But yeah, so it was really strange, and I was really scared because I didn't know where I was either. And then he just kind of got frustrated, and then he opened the door, and I walked out, and then he motioned towards me to get back in the car, and he drove me back.
Wow.
But that could have been really bad. I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah.
I just kind of trusted him and was yeah, I'll go. But yeah,
what could have been bad? You getting kidnapped or having to marry that girl?
both.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
all right. That's
very-
nuts.
Adventurers.
Yeah.
All right, Joy.
All right. No whammies. No whammies.
And
Here we go. 100.
Youth group idea. Oh, you got 100.
Oh, youth group idea. Okay. Well, let me think. When I was over at the Kalawela Corps in Hawaii, we did
A lot of grass at that
a
court.
lot of fun things. One of the things that we did, which very memorable, is we had a spaghetti slop fest. Have you ever heard of a spaghetti slop fest?
No.
You know, we would, we had a ministry with young adults. A lot of them were college students. So we would always cook a meal for them, just like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
For our young adult Bible study group, our young adult fellowship, if you cook a meal, they will come. And so we told them that we would have a spaghetti dinner. So come and join us. And so that we had about a dozen or so young adults. And we had them, when they came, we had them sit at a table. And on the table was covered with a sheet. And so we told them that we would have our spaghetti dinner, but what they would be doing is they needed to eat their dinner with whatever was laid in front of them. So we took the sheet off, and in front of them, instead of a plate and a fork, we would put, different things like a pot or a pan or like a Tupperware or something that they had to put their spaghetti in. And then instead of a fork, we would put like a spatula or, serving tongs or, just different things that they had to eat with. Thus, the name Spaghetti Slob Fest, because it was fun just watching them try to eat their dinner with all of these different things. And it just turned into a little slob fest.
Wow.
But the young adults enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was fun. And then, we'd have a devotional about what we are created to do. And so, yeah, it was a fun idea.
Did you give them napkins?
We definitely used up a lot of napkins, yes.
See, that's where we were different.
Oh, okay. You would have no napkins.
No, I would have hid them all over the core, and they would have to go find them.
Oh.
There's like spaghetti handprints everywhere.
That would have been a great idea too. Yeah. So that's another idea for this other idea.
Well, it's a good idea. I mean, you're preparing them for prison, in a way. So that's.
And fortunately, none of those young adults went to prison.
Really,
Yeah.
none. Joy?
All great kids.
I know them. Someone did. No, that's a very fun idea. I remember it was a spaghetti night when I was a youth. It was a different take on spaghetti night, but we had a fine chef, like a fine dining chef. Mm-hmm. Fine, I guess. I don't know. I'm not describing him. I'm describing his work. But
it was good spaghetti.
Yeah, but so we were all waiters and waitresses. The youth group was, and it was a fundraiser, so people came, and they could order off the menu, and there was like fish and different cuts of steak and all that stuff. But at the bottom, it said, we reserve the right to switch any of your items. Well, everyone got spaghetti. Oh. No matter
what?
Yeah, no matter what they ordered, because they all had different prices. But that's what you got billed on.
Right.
And stuff like that. That was a real fundraiser that we did. And all these adults are mad that they're eating spaghetti when they were hoping to get fish. They're like, I don't like spaghetti. We're like, I mean, it says it on the bottom. But here now, like,
what if you're gluten free?
Well, so here's the thing: is looking back on it, I don't remember the youth worker like being around to be the person to tell them that. Right. It was us, like little 12 and 13-year-olds. Like, I'm sorry. It says on the bottom of the menu that we get to substitute, and we only have spaghetti right now. That's all we have.
That's a great fundraiser. You probably made a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. There were some fundraisers as kids that were like absolute no-nos now. They used to sell us at the Corps.
No way.
Yes, for a day. You could auction off Jim, and then he'll come over and do some chores at the house.
Stop.
Yeah. Now we have.
Did anyone purchase you?
No, that was a problem. But here's the thing: is like we have now whole departments dedicated to fighting that particular idea. but that was an annual thing at our Corps growing up. Is like, all right, we're gonna sell the kids. Sell an opportunity. So on multiple levels, it was like, all right, we're fundraising using kids. All right. 2, we're selling the kids, and 3, we're sending the kids by themselves to these houses of people in the car.
Yeah, that's-
Pre
For free
PTM.
labor.
For a couple hours for free labor. It was some crazy
by
stuff.
themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Aw.
scary.
See, those are the good old times. That rush of adrenaline of like, I'm gonna get like kidnapped. Like Jordan got to experience. Like our kids
Yeah,
are
lucky
too
me.
safe. They don't get to experience those kind of things nowadays. But that's funny. That's triggered those horrible memories for me.
Nothing like childhood trauma.
Well, and the funny part is looking back, I probably wasn't even thinking about like having to go to someone's house by myself. That wasn't on my radar, or that I was being sold. It was the fact that like I was being bought for like $4,
Yeah,
and
that's
like
crazy.
my sister got like 25. I was like, how'd she get 25? You don't even live with her and stuff. And like I'm all upset that my worth was $4, and
Did you actually do $4 worth of work?
yeah, that's the thing. They got their value. But no, I was always on the end, the last kid. And so they're like, oh, yeah, we got Jim.
All the high
and-
bidders already
Yeah.
already bid.
Yeah. And they're like, anybody? Like, we'll supply some money for you if you need it. Like, they didn't make any money off me. But that was the real deal. Gosh, I kind of forgot about that. Now I'm having some memories. But anyway, some really good practical advice given off. We have one thing I wanted to plug before we leave is training school. I want to plug training school. That's right. Me, non-officer, plugging training school as we need officers in the Salvation Army. And we have Captain Joy, who's an awesome officer and works at training school. But we need more cadets. We need to train up more officers, and we have officers retiring quite a bit, and so there's vacancies. There's going to be holes coming up, and so if this is something that not just officers need to be talking about, this is stuff that youth workers, if you're listening, talk to your kids about ministry opportunities. And it could involve training school. It could be other things as well, but talk openly about ministry opportunities. You'll be surprised at how many young people want to do training school and are interested in that. And that's a good time to start talking to them. Again, going back to that drafting mentality of like, take them under your wing and say, hey, this is what an officer does. And now hopefully you're a good officer, so you're modeling good things. But yeah, to get to training school, Joy, can you just, in a brief summary, what is training school for maybe people who don't know what it is?
Yes, training school is it's a 22-month program. We are located in Southern California, where Western the divisions in the West they'll send candidates or accepted cadets into the training college, and we spend 22 months of training them in class. They take courses in ministry, in Bible knowledge, different courses that'll help them to continue the ministry. After 22 months, they're commissioned, ordained, and they are sent out to different corps or service centers in the Western Territory. And it's just 22 months of learning about themselves, learning about God, and learning about the mission. And so that just entails lots of prayers from the territory. As right now we have 25 cadets presently, and they're all on fire for the Lord, doing different kinds of ministries and just learning a lot of different things as they are being equipped and inspired for the work that God has called them to do.
Awesome. Yep, training school. Talk about it.
Amen.
Get it going. Anything you would like to plug, Danielle? You got anything?
I'd just like to plug Pathway of Hope.
Yes.
We have, there's great work being done throughout the territory to really have impact in families' lives to break that intergenerational cycle of poverty. So if there's anyone out there listening that is interested in implementing Pathway of Hope, you definitely reach out. We'd love to support you and meet you where you're at in that journey. I think it's Caring Magazine. They put out a podcast series on Pathway of Hope that kind of goes into like a deeper dive of the approach and the tools that we've used to create the approach. So
Great.
I would definitely recommend looking into that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Anything that we've talked about in this episode is linked in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Saynetwork podcast on Apple, Spotify, and or YouTube. That's right. You can watch our faces and listen if you want, so you don't miss any of our new content. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week with a new episode and new guest.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yay.
Take care, everybody. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Bye.